like a lot of tasks feel overwhelming to me. Life feels overwhelming for the most part, which is why I like the comfort of my blankets and my pillows. It's cozy and it's nice and no one expects anything from me. I can just be. I made it up and out of bed. It is hot. It is hot today. I don't know how hot, but it's pretty hot, so I have the windows open, and if you can hear cars and things outside, that's why. Whenever I'm starting something new, day one is either gonna be, oh, I'm super stoked because I've got all that new, I'm doing new things energy. Or if I'm not super stoked, it's like, fine, let's do this. Day two is usually super stoked, let's do this again. Day three is like, what am I doing? Why did I decide to do this? I am going to shoot my past self if I could travel back in time. And that's kind of how it goes. This morning was like that. I slept in, which is okay because I am still on no agenda time. It's one of my last days of no agenda time. And next week goes back to I cannot not have the alarm go off. And then there's no more snoozing, no 5 more minutes. Get up either before the alarm or when it goes off. So yeah, I was enjoying kind of the last bit of my no agenda time. So that's okay. And I kind of just started off my routine. Like I use this app called Routinary, and it helps me with my morning routine. You create like a playlist of your morning routine, and or whatever routine, any kind of routine you want to do, where you want to do one task after the other. So I use it for my mornings, because I find that on mornings when I use a routine, whether it's like Fabulous or Routinary, I have my normal app that wakes me, and then my Routinary app also wakes me. So I have two alarms going off at the same time. That's fun. So at first I was like, whatever, it's no agenda day. I'm not gonna go through my Routinary app. I'm not gonna start the morning playlist, or like I'm gonna cancel the morning playlist and stuff. And I don't know, on days, like I've done this before, and on days when I don't use that like playlist app, or I don't go through like a very specific routine, I find myself less focused. I'm more scattered, and it's just really tough to get into the day, like you know, the moment between waking and dreaming, or between like bed and out of bed. That is very difficult. Raise your hand. Give me a thumbs up or a high five or an amen in the comments if you relate to that. Mornings are difficult. Mornings are very difficult. And yeah, because the body at rest wants to remain at rest, and the body in motion wants to remain at motion. That's like the laws of energy or whatever. It's the laws of motion. What was I talking about by morning? In Timeboxing, Marc, Zao-Sanders, he talks about, what does he talk about? He talks about having a start time and an end time when you're doing calendar blocking, or if you're writing down your to-do list. The things you want to do, make sure that you have a time estimate for it so that you can create balance. And also it reminds you that this thing doesn't have to last forever, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed by something, or if there is like resistance in starting it because it feels overwhelming. Like a lot of tasks feel overwhelming to me. Life feels overwhelming for the most part, which is why I like the comfort of my blankets and my pillows. It's cozy and it's nice and no one expects anything from me. I can just be. But as soon as you go out into the world, as soon as you leave the coziness of your blankets, you're expected to do stuff. You're expected to, you know, human. I promised yesterday to show you how I plan LinkedIn, not just LinkedIn content, but a content strategy for the month. So what better time to finally use this whiteboard thing now when I can walk you through it. The first thing to do is always look at your goals. Right, so what are your goals? What are your goals for the month? And for me, this month, it's January, so my goal would be my focus is going to be leads, and specifically, leads, then, so leads, calls, or calls with prospects and sales. Okay, so for this month, that's going to be my goal, which means all my content is not just focused on that, but the success of my content would be if I hit these numbers. So for me, it would be just based on history. If I have let's say 30 leads and 4 sales calls, then I'll have 2 new clients. And that's just based on data that I collected last year. This number for me is actually irrelevant. So if I have 4 sales calls, I'll have 2 clients. Okay, and that would be number 1. And number 2, this is before you even think about the platforms that you're using, or the content pillars or anything like that. The second choice, see, this is all about choices, making choices. The second choice is choosing your path. Right? So deciding between the 3 C's. So these are my 3 C's. There's the other one, convert. So those are the 3 C's: create, curate, or convert. And I'll show you examples of people who do this on social media accounts that do this really well. Create, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm creating content. It's where you do it yourself. It is content that is specific to your brand. It's your stuff. Like if you look at my page, a lot of the stuff that I do is created. A lot of the things that I do for clients is also in the create. It comes from the create sphere of things. And then curate. Curate is the second option that you can choose. And this is where you reshare or use someone else's content on your. It's converting, which is another thing that I do, where you take content from one format and you turn it into something else. So you have thing 1 and you convert it into multiple things. Next, we're going to write down our platforms. And in my case, I have kind of 3 platforms that I want to focus on, but 4 that I should focus on. So there's, like, LinkedIn is my number 1. That is my number 1 platform. It's my biggest platform for lead generation and or lead identification. And then so this one is like maybe no matter what. Then I have my podcast, which is my, it's how I curate things. Not curate, convert. So on YouTube, this is my podcast, which drops every Friday, and I still have to edit that. On YouTube, this is my podcast, and my this is my podcast, and there's these videos, and I think we can put these into 2 categories, right? So you have your established platform. And then you have your emerging platform. It's not, that one doesn't work. So you have your established platform. For me, that's LinkedIn. It's the one you're already using. It's the one that gives you the most leads, the most sales, the biggest platform you have with the most engagement. And then you have your emerging platform. That could be one that you are testing out, or it can be a secondary platform that you would like to share content on. And then there's your website. For me, the third one would be my website. I mean, my custodian. So that would be your website or blog. And the last one would be obviously email. So like your email newsletter. So these 2 are kind of like a safeguard that people will always mention, because like these 2 platforms are borrowed, right? So you're using someone else's platform to build your thing, to get your message out there. It's kind of like in the olden days when someone uses a billboard to advertise their thing and to tell people about their thing. They don't own the billboard, but they're using it to, you know, say what's happening. So that's like your borrowed platforms. But your website and your blog, you kind of own it. For as long as you have your website, you own the content on it. For as long as you have your email marketing list, like it's your email marketing list. You know, no one can, as long as you update it and archive it and make sure that your archives are up to date. The world might go away. All of this might go away, but your blog content and your email marketing content and your email marketing, like that list of emails, you can start over with that. Even if you have like 10 emails on your list, even if you have like 100 emails on your list, you can start over with that list. And if you have your blog content, then obviously you can also start off with that. You also own the IP to that. And if you do your SEO work correctly, then you can drive traffic to your website with that. Okay, so that's number 3. We have goals. What are your goals? which of the 3 C's are you going to use, and then your platform. So I suppose that's purpose, process, and platforms. So those are the first 3 kind of steps. And then after that, just the one that worked. So after that, it's time to actually look at the how part, right? So for me, because I have like so many different platforms, LinkedIn is my first one. It's also the most complicated one. So how many times am I going to post on LinkedIn? I'll post, so how often? That's like 5 to 6. So again, we're just answering questions. And the first one, you're going to answer these questions for every single one of your platforms. How often are you going to post? 5 to 6 times a week. What? Because that's the cadence that actually gets me. In 2023, yeah, it was in 2023 my LinkedIn really blew up. I went from having like 3,000 followers to about 9,000 followers, and my LinkedIn newsletter blew up to from like around 3,000 followers, like over 12,000 followers just in that year. And it really blew up because I create really good content, but also I created content consistently 5 to 6 days a week, specifically on focusing specifically on my newsletter as the core piece of my newsletter article on LinkedIn as my core piece of content. And I've seen the same thing with clients as well. When there's consistency, there's momentum and growth, especially with those articles. And like you can go from having 0 to, if you have 1,000 followers on LinkedIn, you can go from 0 to 100 subscribers on your newsletter, on a very niche, specific to your market newsletter, that quickly, like in one article, basically, in a week. You can go from that. That's kind of the results that I've seen in the past. And then you can use that to get traffic to your website. But we'll talk about that in a bit. So first we do how often, 5 to 6 times a week, what to post. And here it's gonna be does that work? Oh, it does. So what to post on LinkedIn, it's 4 articles, so that's 1 a week. So what's supposed to be 4 articles? Obviously this is mine. If you're just starting, then and you want to do this, you can launch a LinkedIn newsletter and just post 4 articles for the month. That's 1 a week. You can just do that. And if you have a website, you can link these articles to your website, right? So when it comes to what I'm gonna post, the third question is the how does it align? Right, so how will it align with my goal? How does it align with my goal? Well, out of my articles, the way I write my articles, they're very practical and very inspirational. So they give people a flavor of who I am, and they give people a sense of my process, whatever the heck I try to talk about. I try to make it very practical, and I try to make it very me-ish. And so in there, I also add a link to my website. and I have a ton of resources. Like I have a whole workbook that explains this process, with like these questions that you can ask yourself. And I don't link to these things. This is part of the mundane. That's a mundane thing. Putting a link into your article that sends people to your website, promoting your resource that's just gathering dust in Google or gathering dust on your website. That's a mundane thing. It's a tiny thing. It's like, it's the equivalent of brushing your teeth. It's the brushing your teeth of LinkedIn. Remembering to promote your resources, but not in like a, here's my thing. Do you want my thing? Do you want it? Not in that kind of way. In a nice. You're not being sleazy about it. You're being nice and helpful about it. If people want to do this, here's a way to do it. If you don't want to do it, if people want to do it, here's a way to do it. If they don't want to do it, that's fine too. Where was I? So how does it align? It sends people to my website and my resources, plus, I don't know, my calls don't really work for me. Sending people from my LinkedIn, this is just what I've learned over writing over 100 and something LinkedIn articles, is that when I ask someone to join a call from my article, people will click on it, but okay, maybe I can work on that. I'm gonna need to work on that and take them to a different thing. So, link to website and resources, specifically the resources. So it's gonna be resources, clarity call. So seeing if people can go from there to like a clarity call, like a free call or a consultation or something like that. And so that's how that aligns with my purpose. And also, when people sign up to my resource, it grows my email list, because they have to sign up. You have to sign up for my email list to get a resource. You have to join my newsletter to get a resource. And if they do a clarity call, there is an option for them to join a resource, join my email list. So, I'm growing this. So my LinkedIn articles have two purposes. I'm growing my email list, but I'm also strategically pointing people to ways that they can actually get in contact with me, either through free resources. This is free resources, or a paid consultation or clarity call, right? So those are kind of the options. And for the articles, the other things that I'm going to, so that's for the articles, how the articles align. Let me not make that number 3. So that's going to come from the articles. How does that align? And then the next thing I do is, because I'm posting things on my website and I'm having like all these blog posts on my website, that's my next channel. Maybe I can write the channels over here. So I have LinkedIn is 5 to 6 times weekly. And everything else is like once a week. Yeah, everything else is once a week. So LinkedIn is 5 to 6 times weekly, everything else is once a week. So because I write an SEO blog post every week, I share it on my social media pages, on my pages, being like, hey, look at me, I wrote something, come read it. So that's A. Then B is going to be my blog posts. And that's also going to be 4 times 4. Yeah, so 4 times a month. And those I usually share like a picture of the blog post picture, whatever picture I'm using to like promote it, and then I'll put the links in the comment section because it gets more traffic to the website rather than sharing it via the normal ways of sharing it. And how does this help? Again, it leads people to my website, and the blog posts, these are not curated, but these are converted. These ones are created. So create, convert, and they come from obviously my YouTube content. So create, convert. That's the other thing. That's 4 posts, which is 1 times weekly. And then the same with the YouTube video, my podcast. So C is podcast. And that's also 4 times per month. See, so those 1, 2, 3, those are my 3 top pieces, and I can stop there. I can just have those posts. That's like 3 posts a week, and that's fine. Like, you can get a lot of consistency and momentum on your page if you're just doing that. But I'm just aware that 3 of those are, 2 of the 3 are links away from LinkedIn, and that's not nice. So the last content type there would be ABCD, would be shorts. So shorts are videos, and that again, that's converted. That's converted. It's converted from, obviously I take a little snippet from my podcast episode, and then I'm like, hey, you can see I'm doing this thing with this person. And usually I try to take a clip that I think people will enjoy, so that even if because I try to think about the different, like everyone at the table, basically, when I'm creating content. So for instance, when I'm writing my articles and I share them, it creates a link, and there's a little caption. So I write it for the people. I write the article obviously for the people who are going to read the article, but I write the caption for the people who are not going to read the article. So there's you can just read the caption and whatever, go about your day, or you can click away and read the article. But either way, people are going to get whichever one you read, whether you read both, just the one or the other, people are going to get more. They're going to get value. They're going to get the same value, because it's something that I stand by. I used to hate when people would do the whole click on my website to read my blog. I wrote this blog about this really awesome thing, but I'm not going to tell you about it because you have to click and go see it on my website. I hate that. I made a reel all about that back in the day, and I'm trying to not turn into one of those people. So I try to give a snippet or a taste, like a taste and see, taster, to the people who read that section, like the too long, didn't read. I add that into the thingy. The same with the videos. I try to have choose a snippet that will give people a taste, but a meaningful taste. Like, they can still just take that one snippet, run with it, and, you know, go about their day. And that's kind of my approach to sharing things. And the last one is going to be shorts, and that's probably going to be the rest of that. So if those are 3, then this will be what, 10 to 12. So that'll be either twice a week, and it's 8 to 12. That's 4. So that's going to be like 8 to 12 thingies. So this is a trick I saw watching with markers. If you ever like have markers running out of steam, like let's say, where's that one even go to? Let's say your markers run out of steam. I saw Christo, who does like whiteboard sessions and stuff, I saw him do this in some of his sessions, and then I was like, hey, let me try. And apparently it works. So sometimes your markers just need a little shake. Where did that come from? Yeah, so that's kind of it, and I will do this for every single one of them. The shorts, they help because they are there to build trust. While my shorts don't necessarily link directly to, my goals and my lead generation process, they indirectly link to my goals and my lead generation process because they are trust builders. They show people that they're not even usually about, because they're repurposed video content from stuff I've already created, like these vlogs and my podcast. So because they're recreations, they're not always necessarily about my work content or the stuff that I do. They're not about creating content on LinkedIn. That's what my blog's about. That's what my blog's about, and that's what these articles are about. So the shorts are trust builders. They talk about other things that I have an interest in, and they also show me the people who enjoy my content. So there are people who will like it, they will interact with it, they might share it, they might leave a comment on it, and those are trust indicators. Those are people who are like, hey, I like your content, I enjoy this adventure we're on together. And then you can start a conversation with them, you can start a relationship with them. You can say, hi, thank you so much for interacting with my content. And from there, who knows what happens. Like with those are trust builders. These are more directly related, and these are more indirectly related to my content. Also, when people see your content, because most people who see your content, like sometimes you have a post that has like 30,000 impressions or like 5,000 impressions. Like I got an article that had like 5,000 impressions or something, and what happened? Most of those people didn't like it or comment on it. They read it and went about their day. But sometimes they will come and they will look at your profile. So they'll look at your profile, see what you're about. They might reach out to you, but they might not. But again, it's an opportunity for you to come and say, hi, I saw you checked out my stuff. Do you, again, not in like an aggressive way, but in a human way, in a chill way, just in a, I saw you checked out my stuff. Was there anything in particular that you liked about it? I saw you liked my thingy. I saw you commented XYZ on my thing. Did you have any other questions that I could answer, or something like that? I answered your question about that you commented. Any follow-up? Did I answer your question? Etc. And you do that like within their DMs and things like that. So that's kind of my approach to this. It sounds like a lot. It is a lot. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's the thing I promised that I would show you yesterday. And I map all this out, like this stuff, the actual what goes on a day. I map all of that out in ClickUp. I recorded an entire session yesterday while I was doing it, and then just to remember that one, my microphone wasn't on, and two, I didn't actually press record. So yeah, it's a good thing I'm doing the stuff just to have like a dry run of the tools that I use, you know, prepping before the actual race day, which is Monday. And what else do I have to do today? I have to edit videos. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna end off the vlog here for the day. Check in. I did the things. I'm gonna take my dog for a walk when it's cold. And read for 2 hours because I didn't read yesterday or the day before, and it's Friday, so you know, if I got to bed a bit late, whatever. Still no agenda time. Let's read until 5 a.m. See you guys.